Hey everyone, welcome out to episode 107 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. That's right, 107. Wow. So, a lot's going on. This is I'm kind of structuring a new schedule for the podcast where it's going to go up Friday or Saturday now, preferably Friday. That's my main goal, just because of how my work schedule is going now. And I'm going to be up, probably recording 2 episodes in advance with a couple guests to go up because I will be traveling at the end of the month for about 9 days. And I'm not bringing my gaming laptop with me. I'm not bringing any of my audio equipment, nothing like that. So going on a vacation, much deserved. So, and I'm going to go visit my family because I haven't seen them in so long. And we're going to a wedding also. So I was like, oh, might as well extend the trip. I can see my family. I haven't seen them in almost 3 years. So it'd be nice. So yeah, I'm restructuring just temporarily for like late winter, early spring, before the summer, a new structure of when the podcast is going to go live. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, got your video version. If you're listening in all your favorite listening platforms, you go to anchor.fm/ANNM podcast. All the links are in the description or on social media. Nerd Named Mark, I always tweet out so you can see where this podcast is available on your favorite podcast listening platforms. But if you're here on YouTube already, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and see all the other videos I've been putting up, because man, have I been busy. This is gonna be quite the episode because ill advised, I'm not really prepared. I'm not even gonna bullshit you guys. A lot's been going, a lot of work and a lot of stuff on the side I'm working on, and then a lot, like, okay, has anyone noticed that for some odd reason, starting at the end of January and February, even to now and beginning of March, going into the rest of March, why are there so many goddamn video games coming out? Legitimately, I do not have enough time to play all these games. I still barely have touched Dying Light 2. Elden Ring, I haven't started that yet. I'm about 30 plus hours into Triangle Strategy. I'm still playing this War of Mine, which has been out for years, but I'm still obsessed with that game. I always have been. And on top of that, I'm still playing Mechs vs. Kaijus, Lost Ark. I'm still playing Pokemon Unite regularly. I finished the main story of Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then I'm still doing post-game stuff. And then they just did freaking a mystery gift in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl for Shaman to show up for a whole story quest. And I'm like, guys. And on top of that, W2K22 dropped, and I'm like, listen, I can't deal with it anymore. And then Sony drops the State of Play yesterday, and now I've completely forgotten next week Rune Factory 5 comes out. And I'm like, listen, I have to protest these video game releases because there are so many, and I have so little free time as it is working full time and doing YouTube stuff. And people are like, oh, why don't you just stream? That way they're like, technically speaking, you're playing the game, but then you'll also have some content to put on YouTube. And it's like, yeah, I could do that, but as comfortable as this gaming chair is behind me, I will not say any brand because, hey, they're not paying me to say their name. So, hey, you want me to say your name, you gotta pay. It's not like Shazam would say the name. It's like, no, pay for me to say the name. Okay. As comfortable as it is, sit in this chair after working all day, I want to sit on my couch over there in front of my big TV and play video games. So I'm not going to move around a whole bunch of stuff and stream over there. Before anyone says anyone, I know that's what I did on Mixer. Okay. I know my Mixer streaming setup. It was minimalistic and I still had a lot of fun, but with the layout now and the desk, I can't do that. I can't go back to that after being over here. Like, I can't. I have to unhook everything. I get it like another surge protector over there and move stuff around and capture card. It's a lot of work. And you know what? I'm lazy. No one wants to admit when they're lazy. I have no problem admitting when I'm lazy, and I'm too lazy to do that. 100%. Speaking of lazy, I have been busy. If you have checked out the YouTube channel lately, a lot of nanoblock videos, some candy toy ones. I had my issues with a certain company overseas, but the claims and this and that have been resolved via YouTube, so my channel's in good standing. There were no strikes to begin with anyways. It was just some blocking some videos worldwide, which I felt was redundant and stupid, and YouTube agreed, so those videos are back and no longer blocked, so I'm happy. So hey, my quandaries and my issues have been resolved, so I'm happy. Still behind on catching up on a lot of content creating, just because outside of work, playing all the games I listed before, reading manga, just catching up on news, planning, trips and everything else. Like, there's a lot going on. So I was like, I gotta do the podcast. Like, I wasn't gonna I was tired, I was exhausted, and then with the weather change out here, my allergies are cranked up to like 120% the last like 3 days. I'm loaded up on meds right now so I don't sneeze while trying to record this, because that would suck. But let's, I did kind of list all the video games I'm playing. So obviously, the main ones right now is Triangle Strategy on the Switch still. I'm going to go and say this era generation's Final Fantasy 7, or not 7, Final Fantasy Tactics / like War of the Lions. This is going to be a defining strategy tactic RPG. Not a lot of people are talking about it because obviously Elden Ring's out, and Horizon Forbidden West, which is another game I need to add to the list that I have not played, that I'm staring at, that I need to even open. And then obviously WWE 2K22, I did start playing it. I could not stop. It is, I couldn't, like, there's certain franchises and IPs, when they come out, they get priority. Any like anime RPG that, like, whether it's like a Disgaea, Hyperdimension, Rune Factory, something like Triangle Strategies, which is a whole new IP from the same people who did Octopath, those are gonna get priority. I'm gonna push everything to the side. All right. Dying Light 2, I love Dying Light. Dying Light 2, I was like, it was running a bit wonky on PC. I had a video card update a couple days ago, loaded up, runs a lot better, but I was like, sorry, other games are out right now, can't really dedicate time to Dying Light 2. Elden Ring, haven't even touched it. I've been watching some of my friends stream it, which is cool. I'm like, oh cool, my friends are playing it, I'll check their streams out. So I've been doing that, but me, no, not playing it right now. And then from a manga standpoint, my manga shelf's so far away. I'm all caught up on a few other ones. I went back and I started actually reading the Demon Slayer manga, because I really enjoyed the anime for what's available right now, and I was like, I kind of want to read the manga, so I started picking up a couple volumes of that. I picked up the first 3 volumes, and then I also picked up, because I take a lot of I have a few friends, we're in like a group chat, and we talk about manga and anime, like what to check out, give each other ideas, because I don't keep up with a lot of what's mainstream, what's popular. I don't look at any news or announcements, so like I'm kind of in the dark about a lot of stuff going on with anime and manga, because I don't want things spoiled, and 2, I just want to be surprised if I find something that I enjoy. So in our chat, they were like, hey, what are you reading? And I told them, hey, you guys should check it. Like, I already told them, like, hey, you should check out Kaiju number 8. Volume 1 came out. Volume 2 is coming out next month. Check it out. So they did. They're like, hey, it's a lot of volumes in, but have you checked out Chainsaw Man? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even know what Chainsaw Man. I've seen some cosplay stuff on Instagram and like TikTok stuff, but like I don't know what it is, don't know anything about it. And they're like, yeah, no, check out Chainsaw Man. So went over to my local bookstore, picked up volume 1 of Chainsaw Man. I'm right when I saw the cover, I was like, okay, I don't even know what the hell this is, but I'm all for it. I will probably read the shit out of this. And it's kind of funny. There's a whole genre of manga, and anime even, and a lot of people laugh when they find it, because like apparently, and I've said it when I talked about the Superwoman in Love manga, which I'm still waiting for the 4th volume, which isn't coming out for like 3 more months, which is ridiculous because it's the final volume, it's the finale of it, and they always get surprised when I like rom-coms. I love rom-com manga and anime, like School Rumble, Mahoromatic. What else is there? For manga, my wife is Wakutsama-san, like stuff like that. And I saw one that was called My Lovey-Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer. And I showed this to my lady. I was like, look, look at this. This looks cool. I was like, you should read this. And she's like, I'm not reading that shit. But I was telling my friends, I was like, yeah, I picked this up. It's like rom-com. It looks hilarious. And they were literally like, one of my friends was like, oh yeah, I read that on this Manga website that I go to. Yeah. He's like, it's really good, actually. I've been reading it for a couple months now. And I'm like, oh, and you just didn't want to tell me. You didn't want to tell me about it. You just wanted to keep hilarious rom-com manga from me. Like, what, you know, disrespectful. I'm telling you all this stuff I'm getting and all this other stuff, and you guys just want to be like, oh yeah, no, I've been reading it, man, it's good, you should check it out, and maybe you like it. I'm like, I already bought it. Like, I'm already checking it out for myself because you didn't say anything. So those are my two most recent purchases that I haven't read. I forgot the name of it. There's this like firefighter like anime. I started watching it and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I was like, I kind of want, and then I saw it was a manga and I was like, I think I'm going to go in, that'll be my main topic. I'm going to talk about like my manga and anime habits. But so we're going to put a pin in this conversation right now. I know mid thought, I'm going to just stop it. Yeah, no. Okay. You'll have to keep watching the video or keep listening for when I get into that stuff. So before I get into that, movies and TV shows. So the Netflix Marvel stuff like Daredevil and this and that is going to put on Disney Plus this month. That's cool. I'm happy. I like Daredevil. Daredevil is really good. And then we rented Scream, the newer one that came out in January. Rented that and watched that. I thoroughly enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna, because it's been so long since Scream 4, and with the passing of Wes Craven, I was like, I don't know how I feel about a new team, like director, writer, like working on it. It's like, this was, you know, Wes Craven, and I will say this was so good, and it felt like a Wes Craven film. But at the same time, there were certain elements in that film that were kind of like in honor and of him and remembering him, and that was cool. And if I could, it was like watching. It was the most. I will say this: if I was gonna do a review, it's the most stabby Scream film ever, and no, like, pun intended on the fact that the meta side of Scream is that, based on after the first movie in Sidney Prescott, there was a film series within Scream called Stab. So no pun on that, but this was the most stabby Scream ever. There's a lot of stabbing, a lot of blood, a lot of knife kills. And I was like, son of a bitch, you are stabbing the shit out of people. I was like, there's a lot. Like, even we were just sitting there, I was like, should we keep track of how many stabs there are in this? Because there's a lot. But the movie did well to like tie up, not, there weren't even really any loose ends, but they created some to tie up and kind of bring everything full circle. And it was definitely a love letter to the original Scream, which was amazing. And in my head, I'm like thinking of possibilities. We can do another one. We can do 2 more. We can have this be like the start of a new trilogy. Whereas like Scream 4 was kind of like a palate cleanse to kind of just transition Sydney into her new life and new, like, closing, thinking she closed a chapter on everything. And now we have this new trilogy that's just bringing in new surprises and story tying back to the first film. And it's like, shit, they went back to that. I was like, okay, so that was, you know, really good film. I will probably watch it again. I'm probably gonna, because I rented it digital on Amazon Prime or in Amazon Instant Video, whatever they call their service now. When it does ultimately get a Blu-ray release, I'll probably pick that up for the collection and to watch it again. I was gonna talk about The Batman, all 3 hours of it, but I don't really want to do a solo spoiler for the film. So I'm going to reach out and see who amongst my circle of friends who do podcasts or content creating want to like sit down, jump in Zencaster, and let's just talk the shit out of Batman. Because there's a lot to digest from that film. There's a lot to break down and discuss, and it's one of those things where I don't want to have that solo like monologue soapbox conversation by myself on a podcast for it. I think it would do better to have a conversation with someone else or two other people talking about it because of how certain things were interpreted. And then Uncharted. Now, I'm a huge Uncharted fan. I love that IP, one of my favorite video game franchises. I just, because I love stuff like that. I love Tomb Raider. I love Indiana Jones. I love treasure hunting and stuff like that, and archaeology, even though that's not really a major thing of it, but like stuff like that. And this was a popcorn flick, 100%. And I'm okay with that. I didn't want a one-to-one story from the video game in a film because I've already played the game. Why do I want to now just watch it live action when I already played the fucking game? That's the same argument I brought up with Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It's like, hey, I've played the games. I don't want a one-to-one story brought over from the game to film. My issues with the film was when you watch it, there's plot issues, jumping around, and things that didn't make sense. Not even taking into consideration the Resident Evil games. Uncharted, on the other hand, I was like, hey, you know what? On surface value, popcorn flick, what you watch is what you want. And it's just like, if you cut out the notion of all the gaming storylines, everything else, you just watch this film, it's really good. And it sets up a franchise that I would like to see more of. I think the action was good. I felt like the chemistry between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland almost seemed too forced, but it wasn't bad chemistry. Like they still meshed well, so I didn't have any qualms with that. I know a lot of people are like, oh well, they should, like, I still am in the camp that Bruce Campbell would have been a great Sully, 100%. That's always going to be my opinion forever. Like that, he was in the time frame when he was on Burn Notice and this and that would have been perfect opportunity to have him be Sully. But that's not the case. We had to go by what was given to us. So Uncharted was a very solid film. I think it definitely is suffering from the fact that people cannot distinguish and not compare and separate the game from the movie. And that's going to hurt it. But from people I know who saw it, who never played the games, they enjoyed it too. And as someone who's a fan of the games who enjoyed it, it's like, yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. This is how I survived the MCU and the DCEU. This is how I survived video game movies and comic book movies and novels being turned into movies, is by being able to separate the two. At first, when the MCU first started around, post right before Civil War, is when I realized we're never, like, you can't compare the comics to the movies. And I learned that I have to do that with everything. Any other form of media that's not a movie, if it's being adapted into a movie, you have to separate your brain, the knowledge of those original media formats, and not compare them to the movie and film version and TV version. Because look at the freaking Walking Dead. We have the 5th or 6th spinoff now. I'm like, really? Another spinoff? Do we need Negan and Maggie to get a spinoff? No, we don't. Do we need more Walking Dead TV shows? Listen, it's like my vampire situation, okay? For years, I was anti-vampire anything because I was like, you know what? I'm burnt out on vampires. Like, I'm tired of vampires being in everything. Like, we had True Blood and Twilight and all. Like, I'm tired of vampires. Blade Trinity was a thing, and I was like, oh, god damn it. So I was done with vampires. Then zombies. I was like, after like the Dawn of the Dead remake from Zack Snyder, which I'm not a Snyder fanboy, but that was a damn good remake, okay? You cannot tell me it wasn't a good remake. I don't care what anyone says. And I was really on board. I was like, zombies, yeah. Then The Walking Dead came out, and I was like, okay, I'm a fan of this comic. Let me see how this show goes. Season 1, I was like, okay, season 1, okay, I see how, we're changing some things. All right, I'm okay with this. I don't want it to be spot on translation. And then 4 or 5 seasons in, I'm like, fuck, man, I'm tired of The Walking Dead. And then it was, oh, Fear the Walking Dead. I gave Fear the Walking. Okay, I was already done watching The Walking Dead when Fear the Walking Dead was coming out, and I was like, you know, what? I'm gonna check out Fear the Walking Dead because a friend of mine was like, dude, no. He's like, I don't even watch regular Walking Dead anymore, but check out Fear the Walking Dead. It's so good. Checked it out. I was like, okay, this is good. But then when we were getting so many zombie games and everything else, and I was like, I mean, and some of the games that were coming out at that time from like State of Decay, State of Decay 2, really enjoyed them, but I was getting burnt out on zombies. I was like, you know, fuck it, I'm done with zombies too. I'm done with zombies. And that's how it's been. Then, you know, Dying Light 2. I was like, okay, zombies. I like zombies again. And then I was like, saw the news about another Walking Dead spinoff, and I was like, fuck me. Really? Like another Walking Dead spinoff? Why? Why are we getting another one? Do we need one? No. I was like, I get it. It's a cash grab. And like, I was like, I didn't even know there was 5. I knew we had like The Walking Dead, and then I knew we had Fear the Walking Dead, and then there was this other one that I accidentally started watching. I didn't know it was a Walking Dead spinoff, and I already forgot the name of it, and I got like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I was like, oh, I freaking enjoy this. This is actually a pretty good show. And then I was like, oh, it's zombies? I was like, huh. I was like, this is a nice break from The Walking Dead, and then I found out it was a Walking Dead spinoff, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. They tricked me again. And then, but I was like, well, because this spinoff directly relates to the Walking Dead story, so I'm like, you know, I don't need to watch it. Not gonna watch it. And I guess they're going to like New York, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Not gonna watch it at all. I was like, I'm on a Walking Dead, like, what is that? What is it called? Boycott. I'm boycotting the Walking Dead personally. I'm boycotting zombies, 100%. Except for Dying Light 2, because I want to play that. Honestly, I really do. I'm going back to Dying Light 2. I want to play that game. But yeah, so with, you know, like, and I don't even know what else I've been watching. Like, we were on a kick the other night because it was just like, you know how like you have your go-to comfort movies. Had a long day, dude. Like my quad was just, I don't even know. I thought I pulled something in my quad, so I was like in pain, and it's bad. And for a lot of people who don't know, I don't take pain medication. I won't take prescribed anything, painkillers, muscle. I won't take any of that stuff. I haven't in a very long time, over a decade. I just don't. I've had issues with them in the past, so I avoid them like the plague. I'm at the point in my life where like if they're around me, like, you know, when she got injured, she had to get some, and it doesn't bother me. No temptations, but I just don't like putting that stuff in my body. So my quad was killing me, and I was like, oh man, I was like, this hurts. And I got like the icy hot and a rolly thing, and I was like, let me roll some icy hot on that. And you know, it's one of those, you know, not boredom, but just like there's nothing to watch, but there's new stuff you could get into. There's always something new you haven't seen before, you know. But I was like, man, but my go-to like comfort movie just to relax, like long day, got a headache and pain, you know, trying to, you know, is Jurassic Park. Anything Jurassic Park. So, you know, we had the 4K Blu-ray collection, all 5 films. I was like, you know, let's watch Jurassic World. Cause we try to avoid Jurassic Park 3 because Jurassic Park 3 had moments of it that I really enjoyed, but it's one of those things where as a kid watching the first Jurassic Park, and this goes back to separating books from movies, I didn't know Jurassic Park was a book, you know? And so watching Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, it wasn't actually until after Jurassic Park 3 was already out that I realized that there was a Jurassic Park book and a Jurassic World book. And reading those 2 books kind of made me like a bitter taste in my mouth. Like, oh man, those movies could have been so much better. So, you know, we avoid Jurassic Park 3, but we watched Jurassic World because Dominion is coming out this year. I'm really excited for Jurassic World Dominion, especially with the new trailer that came out around the Super Bowl. So watched Jurassic World, and then we watched Jurassic World. I forgot the sequel, what it's called, Fallen Kingdom or whatever it's called, and that was really good. So it's like went back to the well to watch some old things, and then from a horror standpoint, because I always got to watch something that's a horror film, like at least once a week, one horror film a week minimum. Watched Strangers Pray at Night. That was a fucked up movie, but like I feel like the first one was better in like a psychological sense. It's kind of like when you go back and you watch The Purge, where the first Purge, family trapped in the house, Guy's been injured. They let him in, like sanctuary style, and then next thing you know, these people are trying to get in, and this and that. That was more isolated story, whereas everything after the first purge was like out around the city and people trying to just be safe and flee and this and that. So it was not so isolated to a certain. That's what The Strangers and The Strangers Pray at Night was for me. Like the first one I still hold in high regards as really fucked up, and the second one was fucked up too, but it was a different kind. Whereas they're running around a trailer park and this and that, like escaping them. Whereas first one, they're just in a house being held captive, and that's a messed up situation. But so that's really it for what I've been watching. Games. I didn't go to the comic book store yet this week. I'm bad at doing that. I didn't know. Did I even do all my comic books from last week? Did I go over my comic books? I did go over comic books from last week. That's why I didn't go this week. So what was I gonna say? Yeah, that's it for movies, books, and this and that. So I mentioned earlier, and I stopped my thought about the manga and anime so my brain is weird with this. So I know a lot of people will watch strictly anime or read strictly manga, or vice versa, like either or. Like I, being a Dragon Ball fan, that's like the main anime that got me into everything was Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, which just celebrated its 30th anniversary, which is freaking awesome. And I used to watch like Fist of the North Star, was it Ninja Scroll, stuff like that. So but like Dragon Ball Z is like the exception, where it's like I will just watch the anime and the movies and I won't touch the manga. Even though when it was on sale, I did buy the Dragon Ball complete manga set that came in a nice little box with a handle to carry it around, and I need to pick up the Dragon Ball Z one at some point. I haven't dabbled in the Dragon Ball Super manga either. It's funny, Dragon Ball Super really hasn't drastically appealed to me, but that's the exception where I won't pick up the manga. But a majority of the time in recent years, when it comes to an anime, I'll start watching it, and if it's a short season, I'll just finish it. But if it's longer than like 20 plus episodes, what I'll do is sometimes I'll just be like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to read the manga and then I'll go visit the anime, because it's easier for me to, and it makes no sense because a lot of people are like, that doesn't make any sense, because if you're watching anime and it's dubbed, you can multitask. I'm like, I get that, but I like to read. So for me, I find it easier to read manga rather than watch anime. Like I can go sit on the couch, recline it back, grab a delicious Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, and read a whole entire volume of a manga, like Demon Slayer. I can go read a whole manga volume of that and chill, or chip away at the Kamen Rider manga or the Go Ranger Super Sentai one. Like I enjoy reading, so I can sit there and read a whole bunch of manga. Whereas with anime, it's for some reason, whether it's dubbed or subbed, it does not matter. I take anime in small doses, unless I'm sick. Because last time I was really sick, and like when I got one of the vaccine shots, and I was like on my ass for like 2 or 3 days, I just booted up Funimation and I binged like 2 seasons of My Hero Academia, and that was the most anime binging I've done in a long time. Besides recently, when I just basically blew through like season 1 and most of season 2 of Demon Slayer in about a week and a half. And because if I'm gonna watch stuff, like I'm catching up on tokusatsu stuff instead, because it's not like I can't go out and be like, oh, Kamen Rider Revice episode 26 dropped today. Well, it's like, well, I gotta watch it, because it's not like I have a manga to read of it, whereas like Demon Slayer, it's like, oh, I'm reading some manga, and I can wait until while I'm doing laundry or this and that. So anime, my brain has always been like, oh, if I can, I will read the manga over the anime, but I still will watch the anime at some point. But then again, there's some anime that I've seen that I didn't realize had manga, and then I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna go check out the manga now. So it's kind of like a give and take with that in regards to that, which I don't really mind. I'm I'm kind of been enjoying, and a lot of my friends have been pointed out who check out the show and this and that like I've really been in this rabbit hole of manga and anime, and I'm like, I go through phases with anime, but manga is one of those things where it's like I used to have the Crunchyroll manga app and I loved it, and it was the point where I was just decimating manga. Like I was blowing through manga like crazy. I'm just like, yep, finish this one, finish that one. It was like 168 chapters. I'm like, I'm done. Decimate them in like 2 weeks, not even. Now I'm like, I'm buying manga and I'm like, yeah, like this is nice. And I'm gonna have to get another shelf at some point. I'm actually planning on getting some detolfs for some other figures that are on my shelves to put in, so that way there I can convert one of my big tall bookshelves into all my manga, because I can almost fill one of those bookshelves now from ceiling to floor with just manga, and that's gonna be fun. And I think it'll look good on display too. Like there's something about the spine of books and manga that really appeals to me. I do like. I am sad though, because like there's very few that do connecting spines. Like Ultraman doesn't do it for their manga, but they do it for the OG, like Showa era Blu-rays. But Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, they were that was my favorite thing about the mangas though, was that you put them all together and they have like a little mural that goes across, like connecting, which goes into, if you see my older episodes, I love me some connecting comic book covers. Those are my favorite. So there's some of that, and I wish more manga was doing that, because that'd be just so good on display. But that's really like manga. And I was talking to some friends about it, because they were like, man, they really see that they misconstrued my opinion on all the things. I am not anti Marvel and DC from a comic standpoint. I've never said I'm anti Marvel and DC. I have just said that there has been lackluster writing. Like, I'm still pulling Marvel stuff. I just pulled a bunch of Thor and the new Hulk line and Miles Morales. I'm just not really pulling a lot of DC. And I haven't been anti either of those companies. I'm trade waiting, and I feel like a broken record having to like repeat constantly. Oh no, I'm trade waiting. This is not the same thing. It's different. Manga on the other hand, I just enjoy manga. I think manga from a writing and art standpoint is just so, removed from everything else. It is fiction. It is fantasy. It is pure entertainment and joy to read. I don't have to. There's no preachiness of politics, religion, anything in manga really, unless it's satirical. Whereas, yes, a lot of stuff like that is interjected in comics. Does it make the comic worse? No, but I'm buying comics for the fiction. I'm buying comics for the distraction, to be just involved in a new like place with new characters and a world, and just imagine. Like, that's what I like and love. That's why I read books. That's why, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. I mean, yes, those are, I do have a lot of H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King's and Edgar Allan Poe's and stuff like that. So, I mean, I can't really sit there and say everything's all glitz and glamour with what I like to consume from a reading standpoint. If anything, a majority of my personal library of books is H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe, and Stephen King. Definitely a lot of Stephen King, for sure. So I can't really sit there and lie and be like, oh, I just like reading fantasy and fiction books. It's like, no. Sometimes I need some creepy bullshit and some murder in my books. And that's when I'll be like, hey, Stephen King, what do you got now for me? what weird shit have you written? Let me read it. Even though you've been pumping out a lot of books. I haven't really read a lot of his new stuff. I was kind of like upset, and this kind of contradicts, like, so I read Under the Dome when it came out. I love that book so much. And when they said we're making a TV show, I was like, well, I know a lot of stuff from just chapter 1 that can't be put in there. And the show was good for what it was. Season 1 and season 2 were pretty good. The end of season 2 was kind of weird, and then the final season of season 3 was just out there. And actually, it's one of the few times where I'll contradict my opinion, where I'll be like, I could not separate my knowledge of the book from the TV show. I was just like, this is not good. Still worth checking out, though, if you haven't checked out Under the Dome. I think the issue was it going to CBS. I think if it went to HBO like The Outsider did, it would have been 10 times better. And I'm hoping I think we're supposed to get a season 2 of Outsider. I don't really know. But that's off topic. But yeah, my anime and my manga like viewing habits are, I know they're unorthodox. I'm a very unorthodox person when it comes to how I consume media. And who knows, like I may just, get bored with anime, and next thing you know, I won't even be talking about watching any anime for like 2 months worth of podcast episodes. I may get back, and there might be something drastic that happens from a storyline crossover standpoint in comics, and I might dive back in. Next thing you know, every week I'm like, hey, here I pulled like 10 more comics again. I mean, I don't miss the days, early podcasts, if you listen back into like the single digits and like even to the 20s and the 30s, like I was dropping $50 to $60 a week on comics. And I mean, I don't miss spending that kind of money, but I miss that level of enjoyment I was getting. I was reading every comic. I mean, yeah, sometimes I was getting like variants. Obviously, I'm not going to read the variants if I already read the main one, because it's the same exact fucking comic, just different cover. But I was reading, anywhere from 7 to 12, 13 new comics every week. And I was having the time of my comic book collecting life. Now, between trade waiting and everything else, and it's just really annoying because I love Comixology so much, and I know I've talked about it before, but I'm just not, I can't support Comixology right now with what Amazon has done to it. I don't like the payout for the indie writers and people who want to publish their comics. As someone who has wanted, I even bought a drawing tablet. Like, I like to draw on this app, but I bought actually a drawing tablet for my computer. I wanted to, try and, chip away and slowly kind of develop a comic book. And now I don't want to. I kind of, with the art style and how everything's going, like with it, I really want to do a manga now. And I may actually do that. But with everything going on, that's something like long term down the road, because I have so many other things I'm planning. And I feel like I'm always talking about things I'm planning, and like nothing is being produced. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, podcasting and content creating is not my day job. It is not my career right now. I have my career, I have my day job. That's what's paying the bills. But I don't consider this a hobby, which I hate when you're like, oh, you have a podcast? That's a nice hobby. I'm like, fuck you. Not a hobby. Like, all right. You think I'd be at 107 episodes if this shit was a hobby? No. Okay. Listen here, sweet cheeks. It's not a hobby. Go fuck yourself. Like, no. So, yeah, there's just, not enough time in the day to work on everything I want to do. And it sucks. I mean, obviously, if I was younger and I wasn't 36 years old, I know I don't look it. Thank you for the compliment. I'm just imagining you complimenting me because I don't look 36. If I was younger and back in the day when I would be up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, because I get those Facebook like memories, and it's like, it was literally like random post me at 3 in the morning. Oh, it's 3 in the morning. I just got done freaking working on like 12 articles and 3 reviews, and now I'm rendering some stuff, and I'm getting, queued up some emails to send in the morning for PR and this and that, and I'm like, damn. And then it's like, on the same day, the memory, you'll see like a post like 5 hours later at like 9 in the morning. Just got at work, got my coffee, ready to go, got my email sent before I went in and clocked in. Now I'm gonna sit at my desk and do IT all day, and when I get out, I'm gonna jump on it. I'm like, how did I freaking, like, how much coffee was I drinking back then? Like, what, like, and it's one of those things where it's like, when you're motivated, you have the energy, but at the same time, you need to know and have the knowledge and the brains to realize not to burn yourself out. I get burnt out a lot easier nowadays, and it sucks, but that's life when you get old. But yeah, things and stuff, man. That's all. Things and stuff. That's it for episode 107. You know, man, just when I get done with this, I got some other stuff I got to work on. You know, I got some reviews. I'm starting some new YouTube short stuff because I like the idea of shorts. I tweeted about it. So I'm going to be producing and working on a lot of those. Got, you know, a lot of videos coming up on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, go check out the YouTube channel. Just type in a nerd named Mark. Hit the red subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're already on the channel. So hopefully you've hit the subscribe button. If you haven't, you should. I appreciate it. You know, we're getting there. We're getting closer to 400 subscribers now, which I know isn't a lot. I know from the standpoint of those of you who are listening, the podcast audio audience is obviously very large compared to the YouTube subscriber count. But if you are listening, please go check out the YouTube channel. I know I get a lot of people saying like, well, you talk about comics and movies and stuff on your podcast, but like your channel is very like toys, like nanoblocks, tokusatsu heavy. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, honestly, when I do stuff that's not in like different in other things like horror or this and that, no one fucking cares. So it's like, and I know like I shouldn't care about the analytics, but I do. But the analytics don't affect if I'm going to do something more or not. It's just what I enjoy doing. And I got to the point where it's like with Chucky, for example, I was trying to cover the Chucky show every week when it aired. And most of the time I was watching it at work. And then I'd get home like, well, I got to work on some other stuff. It's like, but that was a good episode. I should have reviewed it. So that's why I'm going into the YouTube Shorts side of things. I'm working on thumbnails, and like I made a template already for thumbnails. So it's going to be very easy for me to start pumping out content like that, doing like 1 minute reviews. They will go up on my TikTok also, which is a nerd named Mark. I hate TikTok so much, but I use it. But with that being said, I thank you guys for checking out episode 107 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, Nerd Named Mark podcast can be found on all major podcasting listings platforms. My light kind of dimmed. I don't know why. So you can find it on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. Gotta think what else. Podcast Republic, I believe. And yeah, my key light died. I forgot to charge it before I started recording this. If you're on the YouTube channel, you can just hit subscribe, check out more stuff on there. It's March Nanoblock March Madness, so a lot of Nanoblock videos. I got 7 queued up to go. I've got 5 more kits to make. My Pokemon shelf is done. My display case. I'm going to be adding more to that actually. And then I'm doing one big video going over my whole entire collection. So with that being said, I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 107 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd.